augmented reality and AI and how all that fits together. So please welcome Joao.
Hello everyone. You guys can hear me, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk today about augmented reality and the future of visualizations. We, Datagrama, we are also behind the stage here, the stage design, and we work with light. We do projection mapping, which for the ones who are in academia, we usually talk about spatial augmented reality. So it's a way to experience augmented reality beyond our phones or an individual interface. It's a collective experience that we can all have with this kind of augmented environments. So briefly, I'm going to talk about 2010. I came to Austin to do a PhD. I wanted to work with light, augmented reality, but I want to work with the body. So my work in UT here was mostly introducing dance performers into live environments using digital and generative environments. My focus was how can we integrate the physical and the digital all in one environment? How can we overlay these two different dimensions in one experience? So this was with Quixotic back in 2012, 2013, and it's just working with one surface. We suddenly, after that, start to realize we want to go beyond one simple surface, one dimension. We want to go into the 3D environment. So back in 2013, we did a performance here in the University of Austin, where we literally created what can be described as a mixed reality performance, where we had live dancers on this kind of a fake cube, 3 different surface, creating a 3-dimensional environment that the performance can kind of experiment, all generative using sensors, and they can play with these environments. We also went beyond projecting into a surface. We started to work with light and projecting to thin air. So this was collaborating with a Pluto performance, Eriko Iguchi, and she's literally controlling the whole environment with her body using a Kinect sensor, as you probably know, a very cheap and easy interface. She's able to literally transform the space around her. So to end my PhD, I literally tapped into the brain, and I started to work with brain activity, and we create some software, and we made a performance where we're mapping the brain activity with a 3D scan of the body. This is kind of weird, but and it's at an artistic level, it's debatable if it's very powerful or not, but we were very interested in looking into data and to understand how can these elements can contribute to the performance and to the expression of the performer. And again, going back to that idea that the physical and the digital are overlaid. So the audience can understand this live dialogue between what you see and what's happening in the CPU processing digital base. So this is an introduction to what I want to talk here today. This is who I am and what I've been doing until the PhD. A couple of years ago, I finished the PhD and I created the art design studio art project. It's called Datagrama, and it's a collective of designers, programmers. It's heavily based in creating costume software. We've been doing a lot of installations, and particularly we've been focusing in projecting in unconventional places, like for example nature. This was in Boom Festival 2016. This is just one projector and using projection mapping. This is a technique working with 3D elements and being able to manipulate them to kind of create this holographic experience. This was in Lollapalooza in Chicago a couple of years ago. This was South by. Also a few years ago, we have the motion sensor camera, so the South by audience can literally interact with this kind of tree identity that kind of responds to the motion. And recently we kind of start to experiment with this also beyond just one tree, just one area. We start to do kind of a full immersive 360 environments using multiple projectors and kind of all one digital 360 environments, and we project back into valleys and we completely transform the atmosphere. So this is an interesting way of working with light and going beyond what we traditionally do with projection mapping. Datagrama also focuses very much in the idea of doing live visualizations. That means we work like a band, we're like a music band, but we do visuals. So we actually have custom software design, and each one of us one can be the bass, the other one can be the guitar, and we kind of all collaborate and we mix between us and we feed signals between each other, and we work a lot with mathematics. We work a lot with algorithms we can find in nature, such as reaction diffusion here. We like the generative elements, for example, of shaders, OpenGL, and we like this idea that all the visuals are generated live, and they can be synced and reacting to whatever we want. And I'm going to present here one example, quick video. This is all generated in real time. So this is the reason why I'm here. What you guys saw in that last section of that clip was actually not created by us. It was literally created using a technique that is called neural networks. I'm sure many of you here are very familiar with them, and it's something we're starting to incorporate in our creative process. It's pretty much very effective to detect patterns, such as finding cancer and a lot of useful tools, but it's actually been used in the last couple of years with deep learning, and the database is created by Google to generate visualizations. So we've been using Deep Dream. For the ones who don't know, it's a library created by Google, and it's this idea that kind of by creating a seed, an image, and using computer visions, you can literally navigate into this kind of weird world. And that's kind of what happened in that video. We use one frame and we allow the algorithm to kind of travel into that. So I'm going to explore a little bit this idea. For example, we start to play with architectural elements around the world, and we start to navigate on them using what it's described as networks. So we're pretty much combining networks of elements. For example, in this case, we're using a library of reptiles, elements we'll find in this kind of landscape. So let's travel into this landscape. We can now go beyond an image and literally navigate into that just by feeding into these libraries that exist on them. This is very powerful for visual creators and visual designers. And it's also very interesting, almost into a philosophical and archaeological sense of what this means. For example, here, Egyptians, and using this kind of architectural landscapes, and we can almost travel in time. Let's go into the Mayan culture. Suddenly our algorithm pretty much, maybe you can skip next. I'm not sure why we're not moving. Yeah? Okay, we're moving back in time. So the algorithm somehow went from Mayan civilization to some kind of traveling, weird, psychedelic world, which is very interesting for us because we don't understand why this happens. This is also a very powerful technique to understand or explore the work of other artists. For example, this is we're collaborating with a painter. His name is Lumino Kaya, and we were commissioned to do work that we were going to navigate into his work. So this is literally allowing these agents to navigate into that painting. And I'm sure you've seen docs, you've seen a lot of creepy things into Deep Dream. A lot of the work we've been doing is literally removing a lot of that noise. How we can optimize these libraries, this experience, and make them more pleasant. Another thing that I want to talk about here really quick is style transfer. So besides of using Deep Dream, style transfer also uses neural networks, but the idea is a different one. How can I look into an image and apply all those elements into another media, for example, a video? So in this case, this is an image by an artist named Taz, and we applied his content, that unique image, into a wave video, into waves. And this is the final result. And you can literally see the wave being created, and you can see the surfer riding the wave. And I'm going to reinforce the idea. We only use one image, and we use a clip from waves. And this creates a very interesting problem for what's to come with AI and copyright. Is this my media? Is this my content? I just created one image, and we created software. By feeding into an image, we can make a whole realm of animations that are artistically very interesting. So this creates new tools for visual artists. Yeah, you can literally see the surfer in the wave. I'm going to move on. Same idea, working with another painter, and working with some of the elements we love, such as dogs in this case. And again, we're very surprised when we do this kind of exercise, and we've been working with Daniel Trayman, is the one who's been developing the code for this. It's very surprising the kind of results you get. We're always amazed and looking to the end of the day what kind of renders we get based on what ideas we have and how to mix this with different elements, almost like cooking. It has the element of putting all these elements together through code and create this kind of very unique experience in visual art. So I started this talk by talking to you about augmented reality and talking about spatial augmented reality, which is projection mapping, and I end up talking about AI. So one of the things we're actually going to test here right now for the first time is actually we're going to try to transform the stage, the video mapping stage, and we ask our algorithm, this AI agent that we've been working with, to do a projection mapping animation for us before we all go to lunch. So I'm going to ask Theron, and maybe put the lights house down, to see what he created for us. And keep in mind, this is the first time we're testing this, so it might not be as good as we expect, but there's something unique and very interesting in mixing AR and AI. So this is literally using the same language that we use with the dogs, and we literally allow the software to explore and navigate into the stage. And I guess with this, I will finish the presentation. Thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch.
Wow, I've never actually done acid, but I feel like I have now. That was very cool. Thank you, Joao. By the way, so cool. That hat, I could never pull off that hat. I would look like some kind of Doctor Who character in that hat. I thought that was great. A couple quick notes before we go to lunch, because we're about to go to lunch. Don't forget to pick up your bags. They're tremendous bags. We have really cool. There's a cool water container in here and a hat. And you might not notice if you're run short of underwear. This makes a great backup pair of underwear. just pop 2 leg holes and it fits perfectly. Just about anybody. We also want to remind you to pick up or download the Hoover app. The Hoover app will give you an update